Hello again, Dave Sclavi here, the Train Man. Just finished the video on the band brake that I'm applying to these six-wheel trucks. There's a little controversy over the fact that, yeah, they tighten up. Wait, I know all this. And I'm trying this out. I've got some ideas about it. These don't, like when you have them on a scooter, for example, what they're designed for, you're pressing a handbrake and you're squeezing it, and it's going to tighten up full tighten. These are proportionately applied. So when you apply the air, when you reduce the air pressure 5 pounds, the cylinder just slightly moves, and it's putting, pulling on the brake ring, like taking the slack, just starting to come on. And as you gradually come on, they come on. They don't just jam on and then lock the brakes. They would under emergency, and that's what they're supposed to do. You ever see that on the westerns when they hit the brakes on those trains and they slide on the tracks and they make the little sparks? Well, basically that's it. When somebody said we're going to flatten the wheels, well, maybe on steel rail. I run on aluminum rail. You're not going to flatten the wheels on aluminum rail. And I don't think you flatten the wheels at all, but in any event, they come on gradually, so I'm not concerned about that at all. I'm more concerned about the maintenance part of it. I could put all the shoes on here and the braking and everything like I mentioned. It's all hanging down here below the axles. 99.99999% of the time, you're derailing over a switch. That's where you derail. And then bada bing, boom, bang, boom, boom, bang. And there goes all your hard work down the toilet. And I'm tired of all that. I'm tired of all that. You have derailments. You can't get away from derailments. Derailments is part of live steam hobby. You got a 250-pound person sitting up this high, leaning out, taking a picture. Bing! First thing you know, we're on the ground. Okay, this is a commonplace thing in live steam 1.5 inch scale. We mentioned that the cars are not heavy enough proportionate to the people. The people are proportionately heavier. So you're going to have these problems. I've got the cylinder here, and you can see that over here in this camera. And it's been built 1 inch with a 1 inch, 1.25 inches with a 1 inch travel. Out of the picture here, you can see it on this camera. This is my controversial air tank, which is nothing more than a tank used for model airplanes landing gear to run off of air pressure. And I adapted it up. It holds the air fine, is easy to make. It's aluminum, so it's not going to rust out. Any condensation gets in. Quite frankly, I haven't noticed a problem with condensation in this system. I have a good filter at the beginning, so I'm keeping the air pretty dry. And we're always letting the air out anyway, so we're not always like on a prototype. You have the air on all the time, the cars, and so on. The air is in the tank, and it's going to condensate. But we don't seem to have that problem here. The triple valve, which is behind me over here, the top secret thing, that works with diaphragms, rubber diaphragms and so on. So there's no pistons to jam up, no piston rings to jam up. It's all diaphragms and stainless steel springs, O-rings. That's how it works. It's what it is developed, and it's pretty much trouble-free. Okay, and bottle the air up with all you all read in the books. It all goes down the drain with this stuff. It doesn't work on the 1.5 inch stuff. It doesn't affect the 1.5 inch stuff at all. I put a cutout cock here, or a air dump here. You can put a button. You can put this, that. It's a cheap little valve that you use on the system for the ice cubes on the refrigerator in the house. You just reach down here, twist it. It's easy to get to. It's squeaking a little bit because I put a little oil on the O-ring, and that's you have to dump the air when you release the air pressure, release the cars, and going to stop uncut up a couple of cars and go away with the locomotive. You don't have the air supply any longer. Eventually, the air leaks out. You can bottle the air. In other words, you release the airs, you shut the first cock off, you disconnect it and go, and the air stays in the line. But there's always a slight leak here and there, and eventually it all leaks out. And then eventually the cylinders do leak out. The main thing to do is to get the connection between here and the triple valve the tightest it can be. That one piece of pipe has to be pretty much tight. And I've been using compression fittings. I really should take the time out to do flare fitting, something a little more airtight. But I'm going to do a final check with some soapy water and so on that stuff. But anyway, I got this piece of aluminum here. That's kind of tying the trucks together, because when you put the brakes on, the pressure pulls the brakes, and then the levers pull on the trucks, and the trucks swing. So now, of course, they would be on the track. The track would be holding them, so they wouldn't be moving. But it looks like it's going to work. I mean, here the wheel's free here. Now I've got just an air hose over here, an air chuck, for blowing air. That's all I have, and then when it repressures. Now what happens generally when you put the air on first, initial application of the air, all the cylinders go out, and then they equalize out through the triple valve, and then they retract. So now if I just dump the air like this, leaks in the system, that's it, dumps the air. Now that what you hear in air is too much air pressure, because I'm not able to control the air pressure. I should really make up a little test stand with a little test regulator so I can proportionately. I'm talking about this sensitive, 5 pounds, 7 pounds. The brakes are just starting to apply, just like in your foot on your car. You're pressing down and you're coming to a stop. It's a nice red light. You press a little harder, a little harder, a little harder, and it stops. It works the same way. That's one of my problems with the balance system. I don't think you have the control as this has. This has an awesome amount of control. 5 few pounds air. You're not using a lot of air. It works great. I'm anxious to have a lot of cars, 10 or 15 cars with the brakes, and see how they work. I'm also anxious to try the compatibility with the balanced valve system. So my cars would be compatible with someone who has the balanced valve system. Now I work off of 70 pounds. Maybe somebody out there could tell me if it was like, does it make any difference if you increase the air pressure, decrease the air pressure? Does it work the same? I have no idea. I might make up one just to try it to see how the compatibility is with this system. But as far as I'm concerned, the triple valve is the way to go. The triple valve here dumps the air proportionately at the triple valve. Someone out there said, "Oh, we'll put what they call a quick release valve." Yeah, quick release valve is to dump all the air. That's what they're made for. It doesn't proportionally dump that air. Okay, this does it proportionally. So you can put a little bit on. And one of my railroad engineer friends, said they used to go around with a dollar bill, and the dollar bill is 6 inches long. When the brakes are applied, the clevis and the piston has to travel a certain amount of time. This is traveling out pretty far. On emergency, it will travel that far. But normally if I can bring it in, and I can't really control it because I've got to set up I don't know if I can get it. It's really that sensitive. I'm just pushing a piston over here, really. Maybe I can do it. I can control it by opening this valve. Now if I stopped it right there, they would stay. That's all the way in. Okay, now I'm pretty confident that the system's going to work in spite of all the experts. I'm not going to say anything yet until we get it on the track and we actually try it. I understand Barry Haig is not going to make glad hands anymore, so that kind of messes things up for the glad hands. Some of the system is to have a glad hand, otherwise it's not going to go into emergency. And if you're using it, if the clubs insist on the use of safety, I don't know how safe they really are, safety chains, then it pretty much defeats the purpose of a glad hand, because the safety chain, if the car should come apart, the glad hand's going to not come apart because the chain's holding together. So for convenience, the glad hand, you just disconnect it and you still got to undo the stupid chains. And I just wish that some of the clubs would get modern, get their brains thinking and say, well, this system here, or even the triple valve system or the balanced valve system, they are fail-safe systems. You can't, you're going to, I hate this word, piss away the air. That's bullshit crap. You can't do it on this system. When you drop below 70 pounds, the brakes come on. They will not come off unless you increase the air pressure in the train line. Now, back to the glad hands. I think I'm going to try to make some glad hands myself, maybe market them, see what happens. I got to work on that. It's a pretty tricky little gadget, but his glad hands are a little too large. They're more designed for 2.5 inch scale. They're beautiful glad hands, of course. I use them. But the problem is, because you have to use a larger hose and the cars are closer together, they have to be further away on the outside of the car, and then they come, instead of coming across the coupler at a 45, they're almost 90 to the coupler. And then as the cars shift back and forth, the glad hands slide a little bit and they leak. So they really don't work that well with 1.5 inch scale. I would have to make a little bit smaller. I can use a smaller hose. I only need 3/16 ID pipe. I'm using 1/4 inch lines here. Beautiful. Works perfectly. I'm pretty satisfied with it's going to work properly. I got it all set up now. Prior to this, I was trying to use cables, and the cables have too much stretch in them. They didn't work. I went back to the hard rod and clevis system, and working great. I'm considering, and I'd like to hear some feedback on that, I'm considering making some available on DVD for sale, where I can put the whole thing on one, and I may try a few, but if I see a popularity, which I think there would be, get a couple of better cameras, get some better editing. We have this beautiful shot now, and my 2-camera system I think works pretty good. I'm able to keep the sound going. It's a little easier to edit. Anyway, enough of the BS. I hope you enjoyed the video on the trucks. I guess the next time you see this deal, we're going to be on the track testing it out, and we'll see, once and for all, we'll put to bed the myth, hopefully, of the self-energizing band brake. It may be. I don't know. I can't say for sure right now. But I'm pretty sure it's going to work. So, that's all for now. See you later.